I'm James Lynch, and this is my stock report for UFC Saudi Arabia, taking a look at the biggest winners and losers from the event. And the biggest winner on this card, the biggest stock riser, in my opinion, has to be Robert Whittaker. Now, look, Whittaker going in was the betting favorite. He was expected to win. He's fought far better opposition than Ikram. But Whittaker also had a lot to lose here, too, right? Ikram took this on short notice. If he would have won this fight, you know he would have been propelled into that contender spot. So Whittaker had a lot to lose. He fought a guy who's got a lot of finishing ability here. But I said it in the pre-fight show. Robert Whittaker, 2 stoppage losses in 18 career fights at middleweight. That to me is a good enough stat to say that Ikram's probably not going to finish him, and it's Whittaker getting the finish himself. So not only does he finish the fight quickly, he gets a highlight reel finish. And let's be honest here, everyone, this is what everyone's going to be talking about after this event. So this is why Whittaker was the biggest stock riser on this card. He wants to be the backup fighter for Duplessis and Adesanya. I think that makes a ton of sense. I think it was also kind of funny that Cormier's like, do you want to be the backup? Well, I don't know. It's in Australia. I would think that Whittaker wants to fight there. So no brainer for Whittaker to be the backup there. Big win from there. Again, nice finish here for Whittaker. He's definitely the biggest stock riser on this card. Absolutely. We'll talk a little bit about Ikram later on the stock report. But the second biggest stock riser on this card is the guy in the co-main event. That's Alexander Volkov. And I'll be honest, I got this one wrong. Volkov surprised me. Looked great in this one. Did not look like a plus 195 underdog. Gets it done over Sergey Pavlovich. Really good performance, a decision. But again, to take out a really dangerous guy like Pavlovich, who we've seen knock out so many guys in this weight class, including Curtis Blades and so many others. This is a big win there for Drago. I think we kind of forget the win streak that he's been on, or at least, not win streak, but I mean, look at this. He's got 4 in a row now. He's won 5 of his last 6. His only losses are Aspinall and Gane. In fact, I think if him and Gane fought again, that could be a different fight. But this is a really big win for him there. The heavyweight division, where it's kind of on pause right now with this whole John Jones thing. I mean, realistically, I think we can all agree here, the real title fight's coming up in July with Tom Aspinall and Curtis Blades. Volkov's not that far behind, and I think there's a good case here for Volkov to perhaps get the winner of that fight. I know Cyril Gane's out there, but Volkov's actually being active and getting big wins here. I think Volkov certainly has a case for being up there in title talks at heavyweight. Big win there for Volkov, taking out Sergey Pavlovich as an underdog at plus 195. The other stock riser on this card has to be Volkan Ozdemir. Again, it's not the way that it's not the fact that he won this fight. It's the fact that he won it in the first round with an uppercut. Very impressive win there for Volkan. And the odds were pretty even going into this one. This was back and forth. I was on the other side here with Johnny Walker. We'll talk about him a little bit later. But Volkan Ozdemir, again, this is the type of win you need. I think the only thing that's kind of working against Ozdemir is it seems like when I interviewed him that he can't fight in the U.S. So that's going to be a little bit hindering in terms of what he can do in his career. But that's now back-to-back wins. Remember that Krylov fight? So disappointing. I thought that's one he should have won. Ends up losing that one. So he's now won 3 of his last 4. One of his losses is to Ankalaev. No big deal there. Ankalaev's beaten everyone. Volkan, 34 years old. To me, he's right back in the contender spot with a big win over Johnny Walker. So he's definitely a big stock riser on this card. And I'll give an honorable mention. I actually debated putting him in the top 3, but I had a hard time doing that just because a lot of people didn't know much about him, and that's Felipe Lima. I mean, this really stole the show tonight. Lima and Nemov, really good fight there. It's Lima who gets the win. He did end up closing as a favorite, but I did see some books have him as a bit of an underdog as well. This is a good win coming over from Octagon. We know how great of a promotion that is. Felipe Lima, what an exciting prospect to add to the featherweight division. Again, like very, very, very impressive what he was able to do and go out there and take out a tough guy here in Nemov. And when was the last time Nemov was finished? I think it's been a while, right? Yeah, actually he's never been finished. So even more impressive, right? So again, Lima gets honorable mention, but this is what I love about the UFC sometimes is that you bring a guy in on short notice, he surprises everyone, and now you're just glued to this guy going forward. Like, I'm not going to miss a Lima fight after this. Really, really enjoyed this. And again, this is why you guys got to watch every other promotion out there, especially Octagon, putting out some really good products out there. 26 years old, really excited for this guy's ceiling in the featherweight division for the UFC. Okay, let's get to the biggest stock droppers, the biggest losers on this card. And when I say losers, I don't mean that in the sense of they're losers. I mean, they lost a lot on this card. And to me, the biggest one here was Sergey Pavlovich. Look, Pavlovich, a lot of people were picking him to beat Tom Aspinall. He loses that fight, he gets finished. This fight, he goes the distance, but I expected more. And I that was one of the things in the back of my head with the height and reach of Volkov. Could Pavlovich be able to get in? You got to get in there and you got to get the knockout. So again, for Pavlovich, you look at the win streak he had. after losing his UFC debut to Overeem, who's very impressive, all finishes, and can't finish Volkov. You got to show a little bit more in your game. You can't just be a knockout artist. You have to show a little bit more here, and he wasn't able to do it in this spot here. So again, Pavlovich, a guy who is this close to winning the interim title, now has lost 2 in a row. He's back a little bit here, and we'll just be playing the musical chairs in the heavyweight division just because that's what they do with the UFC. It's a little bit different, that heavyweight division, compared to some of the other weight classes there. But yeah, Pavlovich's stock dropped a lot because had he won here, no doubt he'd be in talks for fighting for a title again. I know he lost to Aspinall, but again, maybe you do him and Cyril Gahn or something. I don't know, but this is a tough loss for him to lose to Volkov. And again, he was favored, so he has to be one of the big stock droppers on this card. The other stock dropper on this card has got to be Johnny Walker. Now, again, the odds were close going into this one. You saw him at about a pick'em. But Walker's now lost a couple fights in a row now, and he's been finished. That's never good. So he's lost 2 in a row, technically winless in his last 3. So you think back to May of last year when he beat Anthony Smith, you thought, okay, maybe this is where Walker's turning the corner, because he had a bit of a rough stretch, a little while back there where he lost to Corey Anderson and Krylov and Santos and Hill. And then he turned it around with 3 straight wins, but that's in the rear view mirror now. A lot of people are not going to care too much about that. Now we're kind of getting to the point where, because he's been finished in 2 fights, and again, Ankalaev, not really a knockout artist, right? Ozdemir, not really either. I mean, Ozdemir does have knockout wins, but not really known for that. We're kind of getting to this point where Walker, and I know he's only 32 years old, but we're kind of getting to this point where it's like, is this chin gone? Like, what are we looking at here? And granted, Volkan hit him with some really good shots. But there's a lot of heavy hitters in this weight class, and I just don't know if Walker's going to be able to get through those guys with the fact that he has been knocked out twice now. So I think the biggest thing for Walker is time off, reassess, see what happens. Maybe just do him and Dominic Reyes and see what happens here. I think that was kind of a fight that came to my mind after seeing this knockout loss, to see who can do what. But big setback there for Johnny Walker, him getting finished in the first round by Volkan Ozdemir. And the last stock dropper here, and the reason and I'll explain why I didn't put him higher, but it's got to be Ikram. Now look, there's always the excuse built in that he took this on short notice. And certainly it is a tall task. I think anyone fighting Robert Whittaker on short notice, it's a tough out. So I'm not going to be too hard on Ikram here. It's just the fact that, again, there was a lot of expectations. And listen, I'm not going to go too much into this, but you know the fan base, they were saying future champion. They were saying that, this is a guy that should be fighting high up, and he got a shot. And listen, this is the risk of you taking high opportunities like this, or high risk opportunities. Like, again, if he won, Ikram's in the title picture. Like, there's no question about it, right? If he loses, it's not the end of the world for him, but also, I think it kind of showed as well that he's not really ready for that opposition. You can't be getting finished in the first round and also have people call you a future champion. You shouldn't be getting finished by Robert Whittaker in the first round. I'm trying to even remember the last time Whittaker had a finish. It's been a while. Let me double check that. His last finish was, Ronaldo Jacare Souza in 2017. That's how long it's been since Whittaker's had a stoppage win. So again, not a good look on Ikram. Again, I don't think it's the end of the world. I mean, he could fight someone else and work his way back up. Just the problem is the expectations were set so high. Not necessarily by him. He's not really a trash talker. It's his fans. They all think that, again, this was like Abus Magomedov all over again. People are saying the same thing when he fought Sean Strickland. Similar result here. It actually ended even quicker. So, again, Ikram's a great fighter. I'm not here to, discredit him or anything like that. But again, he is a stock dropper just because of the fan base and the people he represents. The stock was always high. And, when you lose like this, the stock definitely has to go down. So Ikram, big stock dropper on this card. And the last one, I'm going to point out a guy who actually won tonight, and that's Kelvin Gastelum. But it's the fact that Kelvin Gastelum missed weight. Dana White did not seem very happy after the fight, after the win over Daniel Rodriguez. Kelvin's in a tough spot. He obviously can't do anything at 85. We've seen him lose a lot of key fights. And he can't, look, he beat Daniel Rodriguez tonight, but he can't beat Sean Brady. He gets finished in that fight. Like, where does Gastelum go from here? Like, he obviously has an issue making weight. He's tried working with multiple people. Like I mentioned this in my video the other day. Like, he's worked with Mike Dolce and a lot of other high-level guys. I think it's really a discipline issue for him. But yeah, like, he gets the win, but the boss isn't happy, and you're 32, but it almost seems like he's a lot older here because he's been in the UFC. He's fought a lot of good opposition, but like, where does he go from here? Like, you beat Daniel Rodriguez, but like, you really see him making a run for the title? I don't know. It's going to be tough if you can't make weight. So again, Gastelum got the win here, but when you miss weight like this, that's never a good look. That's one of the easy ways for not only the promotion to turn on you, but the fans to turn on you as well. So Kelvin Gastelum, another big stock dropper on this card. Okay, guys, I'm going to throw this out there. I do this on every video when it comes to stock report. Don't tell me my stock report sucks. Tell me who you think should be the top 3 stock risers and top 3 stock droppers. That's all I want to know. I don't care if you disagree with me. I'm totally cool with that. But I get so many people coming in here and being like, his stock didn't go up or his stock didn't go down. Give me your answers. It's very easy to say something is not good, but not giving a solution yourself. So please, guys, if you're watching this, tell me who the three big stock droppers are in the comments. Tell me who the three big stock risers were. Would love to hear from you. Would love to debate this topic. Very good card here, UFC Saudi Arabia. Follow me on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, @Lynch on Sports. My name is James Lynch. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.